Hey there, dear listeners. Sam the DM here, checking in with a quick message before the show starts. The audio quality of this episode is not quite up to snuff, especially with the improvements we've had lately. We had a different recording setup for this one than we do normally. Beth and I are in the same room, and there's a little bit of an echo. Some of the audio is a little distorted. And even the incredible skills of our very talented editor and producer, Matt, was unable to fix everything. So just wanted to prep you all for that before you get into it. Thank you all for listening, and enjoy the episode.
Long ago, when the world was bright and full of stories, an evil wizard gained the power to touch the face of God. Narrativa, goddess of stories and weaver of our world, banished him to the void, but not before he stole a piece of her divine essence. With this newfound power, the wizard lay a dread curse upon all the world, the Glyph Purge, which struck from the minds of all mortals the knowledge of how to read and write. Now, all that stand between the Isle of Meotia and an age of endless ignorance are the bards, who tell stories of distant lands, exotic creatures, and brave heroes. This is one such tale.
Hello and welcome to Challenge Rating Zero, the latest and greatest Dungeons & Dragons podcast to hit the internet airwaves. I am Sam, your Dungeon Master, and I am joined as always by my longtime friends and adventuring companions.
Hello, I'm Brian, and I play Hektor the Gatekeeper.
Hi, I'm Beth, and I play Rilla Longshadow.
Hey there, I'm Alex, and I play Ruger Firehead.
And last but not least, we have the man who calls himself Michael, but who we call Parker. Michael Parker playing the Druid Zurabak. Say hi, Parker.
Hi, Parker.
Fantastic. We're joined once again for a tale of epic fantasy. Shit got wild and some interesting reveals. Lots of high drama. Everyone's a little wounded, a little sick, a little poisoned, a little drunk maybe. Let's just fucking get into it. There's a lot to unpack here. When last we left our heroes, Hektor, Rilla, Zurabak, and the lawman Ruger Firehide continued their quest into the Springvale Forest to locate another piece of the spell the Stricken cast so long ago. In this case specifically, a Death's Head Orchid, a powerful magical flower that grows on the site of bloody betrayals. Our heroes found themselves immersed in a forest that was succumbing to a terrible magical blight stemming from the Badlands eating up the powerful magics swirling through the Springvale Forest. Our heroes have battled swarms of horrific insects which turn corpses into puppets. They have battled enormous, blighted, rotting trees. And the last thing they did was come across the ruined remnants of the village of Greenleaf, where Rilla once called home. The village was down to half its size, the trees on its periphery rotted and spoiled by this terrible blight. The few remaining trees left at the core of the town, surrounded by a palisade wall that was being assailed by a giant tree. Our heroes came to the rescue, whether they intended to or not, Zurabak, and slew this tree, saving the village from destruction. When they entered the town, they found a group of elves from several different communities that had all come together to hold off the terrors of the forest. There was one being overseeing this community of elves, Elder Willow, an ancient, powerful elf, the leader of the village of Greenleaf and the chief architect of all of the horrors that Rilla suffered as a child. Elder Willow reported that all of the other elders in the Springvale Forest have died or gone missing. They are the only one left to run shit, and they had decreed all outsiders were the enemy and were responsible for the terrible blight infecting the forest. Our heroes had a tense little standoff with Elder Willow demanding entrance into the town, and Elder Willow backed down a bit after our heroes discovered and saved the tortured cult, the runner that they met so long ago that Rilla gave a message to deliver to this very town. And the very last thing that happened is it was revealed that a new sacrifice has been selected to save the forest from the terrible blight and to strengthen the veil over the Springvale forest. Rilla's own kid sister, Dara, who seems to have fully succumbed to the indoctrination of Elder Willow. So, we join our heroes now in the Springvale forest. The trees around you are blackened, the soil is rotting, and all of the plant life has taken on a desiccated palette as you all stand in the few living trees that remain at the center of Greenleaf. Elder Willow is still standing on a balcony in the Elder Sanctuary, a beautiful wooden building at the top of the tallest tree in the very center of town. Next to them is Dara in green leather armor holding a bow, who has a wide grin on their face. And you are all on the ground, surrounded by the emaciated, sickly-looking elven warriors that remain, and one of you, I believe Hektor, is holding on to Colt, who you have just freed from bondage. So, what do you all do?
I think I said the last thing Rilla did was she was fighting the urge to fling a fireball at Elder Willow. So I'm probably still just, trying not to look like I want to murder anyone.
Yeah, which has got to be hard. Rilla, for the record, is not only drunk from a bender that she went through just before she came here, but is also poisoned from the horrific insects you met once you got here, and lastly, is disguised as a human woman sorcerer, so no one here recognizes you as the former resident and sorceress.
And also, Hektor nearly blew my cover by referencing the fact that he knew Colt. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, Hektor did let slip that Colt's here because he was delivering a message from Rilla Longshadow.
Yes, Hektor sent him in this direction, and that is what Hektor is referring to.
Well, in any case, so Rilla is standing.
I'm not talking because I don't trust myself.
Sure. Rilla is silently seething with a clenched fist, probably glowing lightly from a spell she's holding back.
Also swaying back and forth and has murder eyes.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to cast to the ground.
What are the rest of you doing?
Well, we had said that we needed to rest from our recent battle with the tree.
Elder Willow did say that you are fine to rest in one of the homes of the elves still standing in this town.
So I guess Hector's just gonna look around at the elves around us and just say, I think it is time for us to take our rest. Who among you will allow us the space?
One of the first elf you talked to when you got here, the first person you came across says, you can come stay with me. I've got a little space in the hollow of one of these trees. Come on. And waves you over to where they're camped out.
Hektor nods faux respectfully up at the elder. And starts to usher Colt in that direction.
Ruger, what are you doing?
I'm approaching Daughter, and I am kind of saying under my breath to her, easy, Daughter, easy. No fireworks yet.
Just real quick, for any listeners that may have forgotten, the code name for this personality, this disguise that Rilla has put on is Daughter. So We're not getting into any weird stuff.
Are we, though?
It's all part of the canon.
I feel like we are.
Well, I mean, we are. I don't want us to, but, these things happen. So yeah, Ruger comes and puts a pacifying hand on your shoulder, Rilla. What's up?
I'm gonna commit some murder. Is what's up.
No.
Oh, I'm gonna do some stabbing.
Rilla?
Yep.
No. Daughter. Let's listen to Hector.
She's a fucking child.
Let's go get some rest and let's talk about saving people. Okay?
I slowly allow myself to be led. Slowly, and I am very reluctant to leave Dara, let her out of my sight.
For sure. Yeah, Ruger leads you after Hector and Colt, and you turn a corner around the trunk of a tree, and Dara is the last thing that fades out of your sight. And the second before your line of sight is broken, you see her turn and beam up at Elder Willow, who smiles warmly back at her as you turn a corner. Zurabek, what are you doing?
Standing there next to the stricken.
Sweet. Yeah, you stand next to Anthony Geist. Y'all are still in the blasted out portion of this palisade wall where this enormous tree smashed a hole. And the stricken looks around and says, "Oh, this is very interesting. Quite a tense atmosphere we've got here. I can smell the madness on that Elder Willow. He thinks that we are going to guard him to this tree of martyrs. What do you think, Zurabak? Will we be good guides?"
Well, that's probably where the stupid betrayal flower is.
I believe so. Maybe we can cull the herd a bit on the way there. We wouldn't want too much competition before we get to where we're going.
Zurback looks around. Not much to cull.
It's a real good thing Rilla's not there, because I'd be shoving both of them down like, no, he's my kill, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good thing you're not there.
Yeah.
Let the bad guys of this campaign talk to each other, okay?
Let's remember that a certain bad guy talks when he's not in the goddamn party group all the time. Parker.
Yeah, because I'm not in the party all the time.
Yeah, because he spends the entire time away, so. The stricken says, right you are. Perhaps there's not too much to worry about. Well, in any event, I don't want these sickly creatures swarming all over us before the time is right. Let's keep up appearances and go lay down next to our companion, shall we? There'll be plenty of time to slaughter on our way there.
And then Zurback cast a spell.
What spell does Zurback cast?
Wood shape to fix the hole.
Fuck! Yes, you do. Man, coming in clutch with the magic spells, I tell you. Yeah. You, as opposed to the other kinds of spells you would use. You wave your hand, and the wood making up this palisade wall groans as it warps and twists together, completely sealing up the hole behind you. And all of these poor, wary elves just sort of look up in awe and wonder, and one of them claps their hands awkwardly before he realizes he's the only one doing it, and then stops. But Elder Willow gives you crazy eye as you all walk across the remnants of the village.
I go over the one that's clapping, and don't you forget it as I continue walking.
Excellent. You are all led to the opposite side of this small cluster of remaining trees, and you find that one of the trees in the back half of the town has been smashed partially over. It has been saved by its massive and widespread root structure, so it's not completely knocked over, but it is tilting drunkily, like hanging over one side of this palisade wall, which has made a very large hollow underneath some of its roots. They hang down into this dark, basically cave underneath this massive tree as it leans backwards. Inside there's a small makeshift camp. This nervous and wary elf starts a small fire and sets a kettle to boiling and says, I have to go see to the defense, but make yourselves at home. Well, I'll try to let you know when we're leaving. It'll be good to have some powerful warriors to help us make the journey to the Martyr's Tree. I hope this fixes everything. It's been so bad here.
Zerback walks in. It won't.
Before you go,
yes?
What is your name?
I'm forcing Sam to name things now.
Fuck yeah, I am. Matt, you're going to have to edit out this incredibly long pause.
No, I can edit out the pause, Matt.
I like the incredibly long pause.
It's a solid. It's a good question. What is the elf's name? It's a very good question, and a question that I am, of course, going to answer because I've been doing this for years.
His name is Ruger.
And I know what elf
what it
names
is.
are, and I'm really good at this.
No, Beth, it'd be "fuck you, Ruger" would be the name.
It's
Well,
Ruger.
there's so many elf names I could say that wouldn't fit, but my name is it's Therival. My name's Therival.
You gonna write that down, Alex, so it wasn't all in vain?
Yes, I'm going to write it down. And I'm also going to say, well, thank you, Therival. You've been quite helpful. If you wouldn't mind, if you have any friends, from guard duty who aren't doing anything at the moment, perhaps they could come and hang outside our front door, keep an eye on the hollow while we rest up.
I mean, I don't know if the elder's gonna like me diverting guards. I mean, there's not a lot of us left, and there's still some, non-combatants, some craftsmen, some children.
Therival, if Elder Willow raises umbrage to this request, then you just go ahead and tell him to come on down and say hello.
Oh, man.
No, I just love this plan, Ruger, of keeping an elf right outside our door. All the time. All the time.
Look, how about this? I'll just stay here, and I'll look out for y'all. That way I don't have to talk to Elder Willow, because I don't really want to do that.
That sounds like a solid compromise, Therival. Really appreciate your help.
He starts shaking a little bit, and he turns his back to you and picks up a very hastily assembled spear and just sort of puts the butt in the ground and leans on it, looking away from this little camp you've got under the roots of this toppled tree. Colt looks fucking terrible. Like I said, he's got a very bad gash on his head. Blood is caked on his face and chest. He's been stripped, of all of his gear and clothing, and one of his legs, his horse legs, is gone. The stump is wrapped hastily in dirty bandages, and he, the second you get him inside, just flops onto the ground and starts wheezing.
Can I attempt to do a heal check or anything like that I'm obviously not fix him, but tend to poor care of his wounds, like rebandage, clean, anything like that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead and roll a heal check to tend to him if you'd like.
I put a lot of points in heal, and I don't know if I've ever gotten the opportunity to use it, so...
And while Ruger tends to his physical wounds, Hector is going to pump a Cure Light Wounds into him to help that process.
Sick.
So I got a 19 on my heal check, and also, Hector, just so you know, I am at half health right now. I know we're about to rest up, but I'm just throwing it out there as well that I messed up.
I healed 7 points of damage for the
Excellent.
mechanical aspect there.
Excellent. So Ruger, you get out some a needle and some gut. You get out your canteen, some fresh bandages. You've been living on your own on the trail for quite a while, so knowledge of basic first aid has literally kept you alive for decades, and especially your past being, formerly married to a healer of some renown. You've picked up some tricks, and you don't do anything too terribly fancy. You don't have the equipment to do so, but you incredibly efficiently and competently clean and stitch up the gash on Colt's head, and you make sure to tend to the stump. You clean everything out, get everything nice and sewn up and sterile, and then Hector, you pump in some healing magic, which stops him from shaking and sweating, and you seem to have broken the fever that was coming on. He, as soon as Ruger and Hector, y'all are done, Cole breathes a little easier and starts to prop himself up a little bit and says, I appreciate the help. I really do. It's been hell staying in here. I don't know if I can sleep the night surrounded by these crazy elves.
Well, don't worry, friend. We're here to keep you safe. And that's what we're gonna do. All I need you to do is rest up, relax, okay?
I'll try. The stricken walks forward towards the fire and says, well, isn't this all very interesting? I'm curious, daughter, how you're feeling about all of this.
Rilla is sitting as far away from the elf guarding us as possible, and she is sharpening her longsword and not talking. And she says, I don't think that's any of your business. With all these ears around us, I'm certainly not going to talk, asshole. And then she just goes back to sharpening her blade.
The stricken looks at you and tilts his head a little bit, and then almost as if he's realizing what you're talking about, he turns around and looks at Theraval guarding you and all the other elves on the palisade walls and stuff. Says, oh, of course. I had forgotten. Hold on. And he snaps his fingers, and a strange shimmering cube of this swirling darkness starts to enclose all of you in this hollow underneath the tree, framed inside this canopy of roots. You are, all of you, enclosed in this black box of what looks like gray smoke. The inside's completely clear, but all four walls, the ceiling and floor, are enclosed by these planes of swirling black energy. And he says, that should keep any prying ears from hearing anything they shouldn't. portion of my newly returned powers. We can speak freely. I'm curious, protagonists, what is the plan?
My to-do list is rescue Colt. Hi, Colt. I am very sorry this happened to you.
Do I know you? I'm sorry, ma'am, but I don't think I've ever seen your face before.
You sure haven't.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you.
We'll discuss that later when, we're not surrounded by these murderous elves, as you called them. Fix the indoctrination that's happened to a 13-year-old.
It would seem that the Elder wants to use you as guards to take someone's younger sibling out to this martyr's tree. I believe the martyr's tree is the best place to find these death's head orchids. Are you all planning to accompany the Elder and Dara?
Well, I think that right now the smartest plan is to use the Elder right back as a guide, which will give us time to somehow try and undo the indoctrination that has been placed upon your sister.
Damn it, Hector.
Colt says, wait, whose sister? I'm sorry, I'm just sort of listening in, but whose sister is what?
I think that leaving Colt out of the loop here is just going to cause more problems and headaches.
I think that's maybe not a decision you should have made for someone else, don't you?
Hold on, are y'all talking about that little girl Dara that was with the... Because I came here to deliver a message for her sister, so are you... Rilla, is that you? Rilla?
God damn it. Yes, it's me. Don't tell anyone. I'm in disguise, but Hector can't keep his mouth shut.
Oh, come on now. You can't lie to your old friend Colt. Come on. I knew I had a feeling that was you. I'll tell you what. It's been fucking hell since the moment I came in here. So let me just personally thank you for sending me into this fucking nightmare.
I'm sorry, I didn't know they'd gone insane.
You didn't know this was going to happen?
No,
You
we've
didn't
had
know-
traitors come through before, and it's never been an issue.
You didn't know that I was going to ride in here to this town, survive a gauntlet of horrors beyond imagining, and then have these elves butcher me for being an outsider before I even delivered the message?
Colt, I had no idea. No idea at all. If I had known, I would have told you to stay the fuck away. Didn't know. I am very, very sorry. Can't fix your leg. Don't have that magical ability.
Yeah, I was going to say, sorries are well and good, but unless you got like a fucking leg line around, I'm going to be over here. I'm going to be alone with my thoughts, and y'all can do whatever shit y'all are going to do. Just...
Okay, but we probably could get some intel from you if you don't mind. Like, what the fuck happened to Dara that made her cool with the Elder? Any idea?
I showed up here with the presents you gave me to hand to your fucking sister, and they beat the shit out of me outside the gates, dragged me in here, asked me what I knew, tortured me, took all my stuff, and then chained me to a wall. So... I don't know what the fuck happened to your sister. She did not seem to enjoy the gifts. I'll say that.
Okay.
Seemed to think you were fucking with her or something. But that's pretty much all I could get between the haze of blood and pain. So once again, I'm just going to be over here.
Great. Cool.
Sort of just hanging out on what legs I have left. Great to see y'all again.
I light up a cigarette and smoke away the awkwardness.
The Stricken says, Rilla, you suffered at the hands of the elders of Greenleaf, including Elder Willow. How did you break through your indoctrination? Did they have you convinced that you were necessary to saving your people?
They didn't tell me what the fuck they were gonna do, if you recall. They just were taking my blood all the goddamn time and being very cryptic about why. Remember, I found this out after I left, so I have no idea what approach you would give a child that would make her seemingly willing to kill herself. I don't know. For me, it was just a series of horrific experiments that caused a deep well of rage to build. Till I got the fuck out.
If they had told you that your suffering would have saved the elven people from a horrific fate, that your sacrifice would have secured the veil that protects this forest from the outside world, that you could undo all of the damage done to the defensive wards around this forest, would that have made a difference?
I would have more willingly killed myself. But they tortured me to the point where I hate every person in this village except for my sister. I don't know if that would work on Dara. She got to grow up with actual friends. So maybe.
So we can't really know what sort of tactic has been used by the Elder to ensorcel your sister so. I am very surprised to learn that she has magical abilities herself. Quite a potent bloodline you have there.
Yeah, I am also surprised. She certainly gave no hints of it before we left.
So, we will follow these elves on their way to the Martyr's Tree and try to break the chains that have been placed on your sister's mind.
Here's the thing, says Rilla, and jams a sword really violently into the ground. No one kills Elder Willow except for me. Cool?
Fair.
Yeah. All right.
If it happens, it happens.
I will kill you if you take my kill from me.
I mean, these people are doomed anyway.
Agreed!
So we're just doing that. We're just killing the elder and toppling it, right?
I agree that he should die, but I do think Rilla need to be careful. Your sister is indoctrinated. If you just openly slaughter him,
No, that's far too quick. That's why I don't want any of you doing it. No. We have years to make up for.
Now, Rilla.
That does sound interesting.
What? No, it doesn't, Anthony. What are we gonna do? We're gonna kidnap Elder Willow and then drag him all around Narrativa's land. What? Torturing him while we're trying to save the world? Really?
I mean, they got some really nice cells back at the city. She could just come and visit, torture him whenever she felt like.
No. What is happening?
There are some corners of the prison in the depths of Grotmire that even I have not been taken to. Definitely a place to hold them, though I worry that his followers will be an obstacle as well.
Rilla, I can't begin to understand the suffering that you have gone through at the hands
can't.
of this man.
You certainly cannot.
But I want to point out that the people that are currently agreeing with you are Zurabak and the Stricken. And I just want you to sit with that for a moment.
These people are doomed either way.
I understand that that's not great. I understand that. Theoretically.
Uh-huh.
But I don't want someone to kill him that isn't me. Let's just leave it at that for now.
Okay.
Fair.
Let's let's all just pretend for a second like we're all just good with killing this guy and his lackeys. That's fine, right? But there's got to be a line somewhere, right? You say you hate every one of these elves in this village, but Theraval seems like a fine enough guy. I know he's not from here, but there are elves in Greenleaf worth saving.
Oh,
right?
we can murder them all at the betrayal flowers and make more flowers.
Nope, not gonna do.
I don't want to kill
That.
anyone but the Elder, okay? It's more justice than anything. The amount of torture this fucker has put me through. Like, he's gotta go. He's gotta go, and I want him to understand why he's going. I don't want it to be sudden. I want him to understand he's a piece of shit. The villagers mostly ignored me. I don't care for them. I would not try to save them by killing myself, but I don't want to harm any of them either. I just have a lot of apathy and, like, have already been asked before by my aunt to let everyone else die for them, and I don't want to do that because they're just asshole normal people,
I think that maybe one of the best forms of revenge you could get is that we could turn these people against him. I see weary, scared folks without a clear direction. They appear to be doing this out of desperation, and if we can give them hope that something else will work, then we can take his power from him.
The elders have always led with secrecy and fear. That is their method. So this is not out of the ordinary. This is how things have always been, at least for the last, 900 years? So it wouldn't be hard, I would think, in this situation to sway them away from a piss-poor leader who terrifies them. But then we're responsible for these fuckers unless we install another leader. Which, who should that be?
I think we need to get these people out of this forest.
Oh yeah,
I
forest is doomed.
am worried
Oh boy.
about what's happening at this forest, and I don't think we're gonna.
I would tend to agree. It does not seem like right now the village is physically something that can be saved. It seems like something that will take time and that probably people need to not be living here anymore until we can find a way to reverse this blight.
And I happen to know this lovely little city nestled in the mountains that we might be able to escort these people to. It's all rainbow colored, full of bards. Zerback would hate it there.
No, that is interesting. Taking these folks back to Everspring, if you can sway them against their leader. A fascinating tactic. Not the first one that comes to my mind, but
It wouldn't.
it has potential. I am curious. There is one piece of all of this missing. Rilla's Aunt Arafin. She had some rather fascinating ideas about the potential for fixing things around here. I'd love to get her insight, but, well,
Stay the fuck away from my aunt.
my dear, I wouldn't know where to find her. I don't know who would.
Good.
In any event, if the tactic is to win these people over, or to slaughter them, I believe my protagonists are going to need a good night's sleep. You've all been harmed, intoxicated, poisoned. I'm sure the brave and noble Theraval can keep watch against his companions as you all drift off to dreamland. And don't worry, If any nightmares come crawling into your skulls, I'll be sure to keep you all very safe.
How far away is my house?
Your house is about... Your house is about 200 yards from where you're currently at in the blighted portion of this town. It is not one of the trees within this protective ring. One of these last few remaining living trees in the core of what once was Greenleaf. It's outside the palisade wall.
It's outside the wall that we just built?
It's outside the palisade wall around this town. The one that you, came through to get in here.
Okay.
The one the tree fucked up.
Which means that my sister is almost definitely nowhere near it because she's staying inside at the elders.
Yes.
But it's still intact? Did I get an eye on it?
No idea. You have to go look. You want to go look?
If this town, the forest is dying.
Yes. Certainly seems like it.
I'm going to say that there are probably some heirlooms that I want to get. If we're never coming back and my parents are dead, there are some other things that are theirs in my home. And I'm going to have to sleep and get my spells back anyway. So I'm going to cast Expeditious Retreat, Spider Climb, Invisibility Sphere. And I'm just going to go look.
Excellent. Apropos of nothing, Rilla suddenly disappears. And you hear the sound of incredibly quick footfalls dashing out of this hollow underneath the roots of this mighty tree you're all camping out under.
It's extra fun because the last thing I said was that Elder Whitlow was my kill.
Yeah. So you zip out of there.
Cool.
With your magical enhancements, you are quick as the wind, and you scale the palisade wall effortlessly, running up its length with your sticky limbs. You quickly close the distance between the place where your friends are camping and your old home. The tree that your family's house was built on is now unfortunately succumbed to the corruption that has plagued this forest. The taint from the Badlands has taken this tree. The smell of death radiates out from it. Its bark is black, and every leaf has long since fallen off of its branches, which claw at the quickly fading sun like skeletal hands. You notice as you start to climb this tree that the sun falling in the distant horizon has taken on a sickly green tint. And you remember that that is the exact same color that the sun was in the Badlands. You climb this tree and find that your old home is still wedged within the branches of this tree. However, it seems that parts of the weight-bearing branches that hold your home in place have cracked and fallen. A corner of your house has fallen away, smashed onto the forest floor below, leaving several rooms just open to the air as you scurry inside of it. What are you looking for?
I would like something for each family member.
Sure. You go scouring through your home. It looks like someone turned this place the fuck over pretty thoroughly. Mm-hmm. You see boot prints in the dust and dirt in this place.
Are they smaller than my feet?
They're a bit larger than your feet, actually. It looks like from the chaos and all the tracks in here that several people came in here looking for valuables or supplies as the elves were making a hasty retreat. You actually find part of a corpse inside your home. It is riddled with tiny, tiny arrows. And his limbs are all twisted up underneath him, like he collapsed in some sort of tangled mess. But as you go, hold your nose and go scouring through your home, you find a few things that no looter would have found valuable in erecting defenses. And you find in the bedroom that you and Dara used to share a small doll, a small stuffed doll with a pair of wings. It is Dara's old pixie doll. It's got these big, like, segmented eyes made from a bunch of glass beads and these little gossamer-looking wings made up of scraps of silk sewn together like a quilt.
She's also wearing a really terribly sewn together dress that Rilla made when she was a kid.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's worn to shit. There's like holes with stuffing coming out of it. It is a well-worn toy. And then you go digging through your parents' room. You find the wardrobe tossed, a bunch of old dusty scraps of cloth on the ground. You do find, hanging on a peg, torn open as if someone was looking for hidden pockets, an old cloak, your father's old cloak. It is in tatters, but still recognizable. You find a hairbrush made of wood sitting on a small desk covered in dust with a few strands of your mother's hair still in it. And you find in a special hiding place that your parents didn't know you knew about, in a loose floorboard under their bed, you find a journal. You find a small leather-bound journal that fits in the palm of your hand that this family heirloom belongs to your Aunt Arafin, the only one of your family you know that was alive before the Glyph Purge fell. These are the scraps of sentimental material that you find in your old home. And it's just as you pry up that last floorboard and pull out that small leather-bound journal that you hear a terrible groaning underneath you as a few floorboards shift and then bend and snap, and you hear a sound like thunder crackling as another one of these major tree limbs underneath your family's house breaks, and your whole childhood home shudders and slides drunkenly to the side, shifting under your feet, and starts to tumble out of the tree. What do you do?
I book it out of there as fast as I can, since I can just run down walls and shit.
You run. As the house starts to slide out of the tree, you run as fast as you can, and the house starts to tilt and turn as it makes its way clumsily between all the limbs of these trees. You find yourself running along the floor, then the walls and the ceiling, like running up the ceiling of your house, sort of like a train car as it falls to the ground, and you are last able to jump out of your own bedroom window, seeing the last flashes of your childhood bedroom blur past you as you dive to safety to the trunk of the tree, and your childhood home smashes to the forest floor 50 feet below you. You're breathing heavy, you are clutching in your hands these sentimental items, and just as the wreck of your childhood home starts to settle, a slight rain starts to fall.
And that's where we'll end.
Hello and welcome to As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast, where we take a deep dive into our player characters' motivations, frustrations, characterizations, and try to get a better understanding of them as people. In this part of the show, we like to ask each of our protagonists a question and see if we can't unearth some deeper truths about them. Today, we have a special episode as we are going to be joined by only one of our protagonists, Hektor the Gatekeeper. Hektor, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. And how are you today, host?
Oh, I'm doing just fine. The skate park that has been built in my studio is rather rowdy and rambunctious. You know, we've got skaters versus rollerbladers, and honestly, I'm sort of getting used to the noise. The tricks are just too sick, honestly. So I'm kind of warming up to it.
Well, I would say that, the art of skating is an inherently, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an inherently anti-establishment sort of a thing. So I think that, like, building an establishment to do it in is really going against the art itself, which is why me and my Rolly gang, we hang out in parking lots and alleyways.
Sure.
Like God intended.
Sure. So you and your rollerblading friends don't like establishments?
Rollerblades are, as the kids say, cringe. We're a Rolly gang.
I don't know what that means, Hector. What is Rolly?
And Hector stands up and glides a circle around the recording table on the back of his Rolly shoes.
Hector, are you wearing Heelys?
That's what they're called. Rolly works.
Okay, great. So you've gone full Heelys. And so you think that you're more punk rock because you've got Heelys on, is what I'm hearing.
I think that the wheels that one uses does not determine the worth of their skaterness.
Sure.
It's the location. It's all about the location. Location.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, we could do an entire episode of just unpacking that, but we won't. Hector, I'm glad that I got the time to get into sort of a deep dive with you here. I wanted to talk to you about the Stricken, Anthony Geist. Now, when you first began your adventure, you were a hand-picked hero chosen by a traveling bard to undo one of the greatest tragedies that has befallen the Isle of Meosha, to undo the glyph purge, and through battle and through times of peace, you came to know and, dare I say, respect, at least positively regard, the person you knew as Sebastian Weaver. You saved his life on occasion, and then it became clear that you were duped, that Sebastian Weaver was actually the Stricken, the architect of the glyph purge, the reason that the world is fucked up.
Yes, everything you said before was what I believed, but was, of course, an actual lie. I was a hand-picked patsy who is trying to save the world despite myself.
Understood. Well, I guess that's what I sort of wanted to pin down is your view of your current situation. I remember that you started this adventure as a wide-eyed kid, eager to see the world, put, some faces and some memories of your own with all the stories you've heard. And now you are a seasoned warrior that has become a bard in your own right, but also has, killed quite a few people in incredibly violent fashion, who's let their anger maybe get the better of them once. I can think of, the killing of the Medusa, which was not tactically sound. And I remember when you came back from the Ashen Isles, you, I believe, floated the possibility of starting an entire misinformation campaign, trying to get some propaganda going to curb what you saw as a Stricken's growing influence. Do you think that traveling with the Father of all darkness, the Lord of the End, the Stricken, has negatively impacted you, your morality, your sense of self, your personal philosophies? Do you think you've been scarred by your proximity to this great evil?
I think that there is no way in which I wouldn't have been.
That's a very interesting answer. You think that no matter what, considering how evil this individual is, there's no way you could have escaped being corrupted by them?
I wouldn't necessarily say corrupted, and I want to note that when I say that I was negatively impacted, I'm not saying that being in the presence of a being so evil, my soul has darkened. I'm saying that being used by a manipulative evil being, and the things that I have seen and experienced since coming to know him, of course, has fundamentally changed my worldview. Before I met the Stricken, I only knew of heroics in terms of fanciful stories. And I still believe in the power of stories, but I have come to understand that stories are lies. Stories are lies. There's maybe a kernel of truth, but the stories never tell you about how much the people have suffered. The stories never tell you about just how terrible people can be. I've learned a lot from watching crazed fanatics attempt to burn an entire town's worth of people alive. I've learned a lot from watching somebody that I cared about have the soul ripped from her body by a horrible being. I've learned a lot from seeing the blight that's taking over the forest. It's all bad, and I don't believe for one moment that we should let Anthony Geist regain any influence in the modern world.
Oh, that certainly all tracks. That makes a lot of sense. I'm curious, considering how terrible the things you've seen are, in many cases, what do you think your chances are of getting out of all this unscathed? Do you think at the end of this journey, however it shakes out, if you save the world, if you banish the stricken back to the void, if you maybe destroy him completely, if you're able to cut out this darkness from the world, do you think that you will be the kind of person you want to be? Or do you think this will leave you fundamentally tainted in some way? How much more darkness do you think you can see before you start to change into someone you don't recognize?
I think that seeing the world as it truly is has changed my outlook to a degree, and it's changed my tactics to a degree, but there are things that I do still truly believe in. I believe that people are inherently good and become evil from other influences. I don't think that means that someone like Anthony Geist is not guilty of his crimes. I just think that had his life fallen in a different direction, he could have been a good person. And I want to be a good influence on the world around me. I want to prevent future Strickens through influence. So no, I will not come out of this unscathed. I am already scathed. But
I was hoping he was going to say that.
But I'm not going to stop believing in goodness.
Well, Hector the Gatekeeper, powerful sentiment for sure. Quite a lovely deep dive into your personal philosophies and your experiences thus far. We certainly appreciate your candor and coming in to sort of unpack this stuff with us. I wish you the best of luck in your ventures going forward, and can't wait to see what kind of man you are at the end of all this.
Neither can I.
Well, that's going to do it for us here on As the Dice Turns, the podcast after the podcast. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to our little show, and until next time, keep those dice turning. Hey, Sharon, can we get a price check on those Heelys? I shouldn't get Heelys, right, Sharon? That's probably a bad call. Hey there, dear listeners. Sam the DM here, checking in with the credits at the end of the show. Challenge Rating 0 was edited by the incomparable Audius Prime, aka Matt Sims. You can find more of his work at audiusprime.com. Music for our show is provided by the harp wolf Danielle Williams. You can find more of her work at danielletaylorharp.bandcamp.com. There you can find her album called Why Are We Surprised When Seasons Change? You should check it out. It's a real banger. Additional music is provided by Justin Ra. Check out his stuff at justinra.com, including his album Age of the Spirit. If you would like to find us on social media, we are on Facebook and Instagram, Challenge Rating ZERO. You can find us on Twitter at CR_0. If you want to contact us here at the show, you can email us at challengeratingzero@gmail.com. You can send us questions for our As the Dice Turn segment. Any questions we receive from our listeners will be read on air. If you'd like to support the show, we are on Patreon. Patreon.com/CR_ZERO. We've got a couple of tiers and some bonus content there. We're working on more. If you are unable to support us fungibly, please throw us a download, give us some reviews on whatever podcast app you're using. That kind of stuff really helps. Thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you next time. Bye.